Hi, welcome. I wanted to do a review and give you guys some information about this camera here. It is the, you can say, Raven Pro Action Camera 4K. There's no videos on YouTube, at least that I could find, for this specific model, which has dual screens on it. First thing you need to know is Raven is actually not a manufacturer of cameras, it's a brand. And it's the brand of the store I bought this from. So this camera was made for them. It's available on, I think, 3 different stores that are all connected. But this would be found in the EU market. It's made by a company called Allsec, which is based in Shenzhen, China. And they make cameras for many people. They're an OEM manufacturer, I guess you would call them. And they make cameras for like a well-known brand that most people know is Akaso. And this is basically a copy of the Akaso S60 TR. Other camera brands that are the same, Surfola, Wolfgang, iSmart, and Campark. But I think iSmart was the first one maybe that came out like this, because the software that this uses is eye capture, I think, something like that. But anyway, Allsec is behind it, and they make this camera. So we can go over some stuff here because you guys need to know some specific details about this camera. First of all, it's claimed to be a 4K camera, and I can tell you right now, after testing it, it is not a true 4K camera. Like all the other ones that are similar, actually identical to this one, it is a 1080 camera, and it upscales to 4K. And you see that when you do the video testing. If you go especially 60 frames per second at 4K, it's horrible. The quality is not, I wouldn't consider it usable. I would stick to using it as a 1080, maybe even go to 2.7K. That's okay. But if you expect anything more than that, you're not going to be happy with it. But that said, this is a budget camera, so I mean, for the price you pay, you get what you get, and it's feature packed, that's for sure. It's got a lot of stuff on it. We can go over that right now. First of all, the housing is plastic, obviously. On the top here we have the mode and OK buttons. On the side here we have an up and down, and this particular one, if you hold that in, it switches between the front screen and the back screen. And I can give you a demonstration of that right now. So we'll turn on the camera. It's very fast to start up. Now you can see the front screen is off right now. If I press and hold, it'll switch to that one. So that's kind of handy. So if you want to do selfies and whatnot, you want to look at yourself or get a view behind you to see what you're doing. The one thing I don't like about this camera, which all the other ones that are identical, it has the USB port, SD card slot, and micro HDMI all on this side here, but there's no cover. So it's all exposed, and that means this camera is obviously not waterproof. So you can't use this the way it is. Unless you put it in the case that comes in it. Now, if we talk about the cases, unlike the other ones that are identical, this one actually comes in a nice package, which is like a ripstop nylon, and it comes with a bunch of accessories. And I'll just rip this open here. So we'll go over that real quick, and then I'll give you the details about the camera. So obviously you get waterproof housing, you get a remote, and you get the straps to go with the remote. We have a tripod mount and then a reverse tripod mount. I don't know why that's there, but that is. You get a bicycle attachment or a tube attachment, and the skeleton housing. Now the skeleton housing, as you can see, it's also open on this side, just like the camera is. So I would suggest, if you want to use this outdoors, let's say you're riding in muddy environments and whatnot, I would put a piece of tape maybe here, but don't cover that little hole down there, because that's a microphone. So cover at least that much so that you won't get any dirt or anything like that flying into the ports and whatnot. And then you also get these adjustments, you know, like pieces, so you can change the position and angles, extensions if you want to call it. And a USB cable, of course, that comes with it. Here's the package of all the straps. You have some extra adhesive mounts or stickers and a microfiber cloth, and 2 mounts that already have stickers on them. Some zap straps and a safety, like a metal safety cord, I guess. And of course the owner's manual. So this one does not come with 2 batteries, which I found really interesting, because all the other ones do come with 2 batteries, but not this one. So basically the identical cameras to this one that are made by OSIC, if you look in the market, you'll find them under the brand name Akaso, specifically the Akaso S60TR. Then we have Wolfgang, we have iSmart, Campark, Surfola, that I could find that were made. They're all identical, and they all have the same specs. They all have the same chipset and sensor. So, as I said, OSIC is the company that makes it. And if we look at the specs of this, I'm going to double check my list here. It is the Sony IMX386 sensor, which is a 4032 by 3024 pixel sensor, and that translates to 12 megapixels. So it is not, I guess they call this a 20 megapixel camera for taking, or 24. And just like the other manufacturers, they claim 24 megapixels, and that's also upscaled, just like the other cameras. And like all the ones I mentioned, you can see the review videos of them. I took some test videos, and I'm not even going to bother attaching them to this video, because there's so much footage from these types of cameras online, and I can't justify trying to promote the 4K functions, because in my opinion, it's not worth it. I use Sony cameras myself, so I was looking for a cheap camera to use with radio control cars for my son, because he wanted to film when he was driving, and I didn't want him to wreck my cameras. But in hindsight, I think I have a small AZ1 Sony that doesn't have a screen, but you know what, the HD quality is superior to this one, so I think maybe he just might as well use that and attach it to the computer, because I thought, you know, with the screen functionality, it would be something he would enjoy. I don't know if we're going to keep this anyway, just to use the HD quality, but for 999 crowns, that's what it sold for, and I assumed I was getting an actual true 4K camera. At that price, it would have been worth it, but 999 for an HD camera is a bit steep for this quality. There are many other manufacturer brands out there that have the same specs, probably also made by OSIC, that are cheaper. But it depends, you know. I bought this in the EU, so it costs a bit more, but I'm sure if you buy it online, AliExpress or Banggood or whatever, it's going to cost you less. So, you know, when we get down to the nitty-gritty, if you want a cheap camera, it's fine. It's great. And in the EU market, to find a camera that comes with all this stuff that is pretty good in HD, like good enough, you know, for 900 crowns, it's okay. And that's claimed as a 56% rebate, actually, because it cost 2,249 before. I don't know if it actually did cost that, if it's just misleading on the advertising, but I'm not going to judge. But this way you guys know about the Raven camera and what it's capable of. So again, we'll go down through the model list. If you want to look at footage, you can look up Wolfgang, or sorry, Wolfang, not Wolfgang, Wolfang GA200. Then we have the iSmart ProCam 7. We have the CamPark X35, the Surfola SF530, and the Akaso S60TR, which is also the Allsec S60TR. They share the same model number. And you'll see, if you look up any of these cameras, they're exactly the same as this one. With the front back screens, the same open ports, the same shape of the lens. And I think they all have the same specs internally with the Sony IMX 386 sensor and the iCatch V35 chipset, because that is the iSmart chipset that they use with these cameras. Now the IMX 386 sensor isn't that bad, but it came out in 2019, and if I have my information correct, and it was used on a lot of mobile telephones, and it's a great camera when there's, or a great sensor when there's enough light. When you start to get into low light, then it's acceptable quality, and if you go into nighttime shooting, you're done. It's not worth it. Don't expect it to be able to do that. But I mean, if you want a camera that can do nighttime shooting, you're gonna have to spend a lot more. You're probably looking at about 3,000 crowns and up. So if you have the budget, if you can spend maybe 2,000-3,000 instead of buying a cheap 2,000-3,000 crown camera, I would suggest to buy a used GoPro. There's tons of them out there, starting with the GoPro Hero 6 maybe. I've seen them around 2,000 something crowns. You're better off getting something like that if you want 4K. If you just want to save money, you want something cheap that you don't mind if it gets toast, gets smashed up or whatever, and you are okay with shooting HD at a decent quality, 60 frames a second, then this is the camera for you. At least in our market, that's the one that's available, the Raven Pro. But if you go online and if you want to buy from China, then you can buy the other brand names. But you'll see they're all exactly the same. They just have different names here on the front, and you'll see even the font is the same, but they're just called different things. And then sometimes they have 4K or whatever pasted on here or there, but you'll look at the chassis itself, exactly the same. So anyway, I hope this information helps you guys make a decision if you want this camera or not. And disclaimer, I bought this camera with my own money. It wasn't provided to me by the supplier, but if you guys want to know where to get it, 24mx.se or excelmoto.se or sledstore.se. They're all the same company, but they cater to different customers, so they have different inventory. But you'll see that Raven is the in-house brand. They sell a lot of stuff at pretty decent prices. So if you want this camera, that's where you can get it from. And as of this video, the price is 999 crowns plus shipping. But I think if you buy 1,500 crowns worth of stuff maybe or more, then shipping's free. But anyways, that's the information on the camera. So if you guys want to buy one, that's up to you. But now you know the specs, you know who makes them, you know where it came from, and what can you find on the market that's similar. But if you want 4K, avoid it. I'll be honest with you. If you're expecting 4K, then you want to avoid this. But for HD footage, it's fine. 2.7 is acceptable. But anything more than that, forget it. And nighttime shooting, forget it. Low lights, pretty grainy. But I assume the people that are going to be using this are going to be using it with plenty of light outside. Hopefully, summer sports and whatnot. But if you plan on getting it wet, make sure you use this. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed the video and have a nice day. Usual, if you guys like this, you can click like. You don't have to subscribe if you don't want to. I don't do a lot of reviews or anything, but if you want to follow some stuff, feel free to subscribe. Alright, have a nice day.